Carroll Shelby, Matt Damon, is a professional racer who is forced into early retirement due to a heart condition and goes into car sales. Warm and likable, he's a natural salesman and a people person. He is also an incredible vehicle designer and engineer. Meanwhile, Ken Miles, Christian Bale, is a racer currently working as a mechanic and running his own shop to support his wife Molly, Katrina Balfe, and son Peter, Noah Jupe. He tells it like it is and sometimes gets customers angry, but he doesn't sugarcoat anything. At a race, Ken is told his car does not meet regulations and begins angrily yelling at the race official. Carroll spots this and calms him down, but afterward, the two get into an argument, and Ken throws a wrench at him. Later, the IRS comes and shuts down Ken's garage, and he's forced to give up most of his racing in order to take care of his family. Meanwhile, at Ford Motors, Henry Ford II, Tracy Letts, is furious that sales are down and that his father's company is in danger. He begins taking pitches from his underlings. Lee Iacocca, John Bernthal pitches him an idea. The sexiest cars are race cars, like Ferraris. He posits that if Ford can win the Le Mans, the 24-hour race, they will be at the top. In order to do that, they fly to Italy in order to offer the struggling Ferrari a deal. They will buy the company and let Enzo Ferrari, Remo Girone, maintain control of the racing division. Ferrari uses this offer to get Fiat to make a good offer, and they buy Ferrari. Ferrari tells the Ford businessman to shove it and calls Henry a fat pig. When they get back, Henry makes them relay in detail what Ferrari said, and he becomes more determined than ever to beat Ferrari. He decides they will start their own racing division. Lee approaches Carroll, as the only American to ever win at Le Mans, if he would be the head of their racing team, designing and testing the cars. Carroll agrees, and goes to Ken, the best driver he knows, to take part. Shelby and Miles developed the UK-built Ford GT40 MKI prototype at Los Angeles International Airport. At the launch of the new Ford Mustang, Miles gives a witheringly rude appraisal of it to Ford Senior Vice President Leo Beebe. Beebe campaigns against sending Miles to the 1965 24 Hours of Le Mans as a public relations liability. Shelby reluctantly excludes Miles and sends Phil Hill and Bruce McLaren to Le Mans. None of the fours finish. When Ford demands why he should not sack Shelby, Shelby explains that despite the GT40's reliability problems, it instilled fear in Enzo Ferrari by reaching 218 miles per hour, 350.8 kilometers per hour, on the Mulsanne straight before breaking down. He says a racing car could not be designed by committee. Ford tells him to continue the project and report directly to him. Carroll is able to convince Henry to allow him to rehire Ken. He goes to Ken's house and apologizes and asks him to come back, and the two end up getting into a physical fight on his front lawn. They finally give up, exhausted, and Molly brings them some cold sodas. Ken rejoins the team, who are working day and night trying to perfect the car. During testing of the GT40 MK2, the recurrent problem of brake fade causes a crash and fire, which Miles survives. The team realizes the rules permit replacing the whole brake assembly during the race. Lee warns Carroll that Leo is determined to have Ken removed from the team, and intend on doing so on their next visit. In 1966, Beebe takes over the racing division. When he and Ford arrive to inspect the program, Shelby locks Beebe in his office and gives Ford a ride in the GT40. Shelby makes a deal with Ford. If Miles wins the 24 Hours of Daytona, then he will race at Le Mans. If not, Ford will take full ownership of Shelby American. At Daytona, Beebe enters a second GT40 supported by a NASCAR team with quicker pit stops. Shelby clears Miles to push his car beyond the 7,000 RPM red line, and he wins. In France, Le Mans approaches. Ferrari and Henry are both in attendance. When the race starts, Ken's door won't shut, slowing him down on the first lap. The car that they had designed was able to accelerate to really high speeds, but doing so burned out the brakes. So deep into the race, the pit crew changes out the brakes. The Italians at Ferrari are furious, saying this is a violation of the rules, but Carroll points out the rule book says they are allowed to change parts, and it isn't specified which ones. Eventually, Ferrari's car spins out and crashes, leaving Ken in first place, and Molly and Peter are able to watch on TV as Ken completes his much-desired perfect leg. Leo, who had been trying to bypass Carroll and mess with their strategy, goes to Henry and suggests that the best image for Ford would be to have all three of their cars cross the finish together. He agrees, and Leo gives Carroll the order, who refuses. Carroll tells Ken the instruction but tells him it's his race, and he will stand behind him no matter what. At first, Ken speeds to the victory, but he eventually relents and slows down, allowing the other drivers to catch up and cross the finish together. Everyone celebrates Ken's win until a technicality. He started behind another car, puts him into second, not first. Carroll is furious, but Ken accepts it, and the two go off together. Weeks later, while testing the new car design, the J car, Ken, who is not wearing safety gear while driving it, crashes and is killed. Carroll goes to his family's home and finds Peter, whom he gives the wrench that Ken threw at him. He gets into his car, and despite his condition, speeds off into the distance. The postscript tells us that Carroll's cars won the Le Mans 4 years and that Ken was inducted posthumously into the Racing Hall of Fame.